Hello there and welcome to another edition of Eye on Port. It is proudly brought to you by West Blue Consulting, Ghana Oil Company Limited and Ghana Community Network Services. Media partner is the Business and Financial Times. And folks, we are revisiting the issue of security at sea because, as you may have heard, the 3 Koreans who were captured by the pirates when the fishing vessel was hijacked by pirates have been released, although we have information that the Ghanaian as well as the Greek that was on board that vessel have not yet been received. So we're going to focus attention on security a bit and talk about how well we can secure our waters, because that is what people know Ghana's waters to be, that our waters are very peaceful. So at the anchorage, a number of vessels are there, not just because they want to come into the port, but also because they are taking shelter, they are getting security there. They prefer to be there than go to Benin or Nigerian waters. So how do we protect this very good image that we have as a country is what we're going to talk about. Once again, our guest, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali.
The Navy is the only service that don't have barracks anywhere in the country.
You mean the security service?
Yeah, yes, they are. All the security services, put them together. And when you come to the armed forces, Air Force have got barracks, Army have got barracks, the Navy don't have barracks. Even in Takoradi, where you have the...
So what do you call the naval bases that we hear of?
Yeah,
the Takoradi naval base?
The naval base is the operational base where you have offices.
There are no homes for the service?
Yeah, they are not homes. We have very limited homes, for example, in the naval base. And it wasn't a few years ago that they also built a few very close to the naval base. And this has been something the last 10 years, because when the Navy was established historically, it was a very small Navy.
Yeah.
And it was thought that the Navy officers and ratings would spend most of their time on board the ship, at sea, and spend their time on board the ship. So this is, and the Navy has expanded over the years without barracks. So the successive chief of naval staff have been pushing this and trying to expand and get Navy barracks, and all of them have done this incrementally. And what we had recently was one of it that,
so maybe now that we've seen the accommodation situation settled, the next thing that we should be looking at is how we equip the men and women to do the jobs they are assigned.
Yes, the accommodation, accommodation situation improved. Then we'll be looking at helping the Navy more. But you see, even in the Navy, it's just not always a question of the platforms alone, but even the operational cost. So I would say even now, the Navy will still have a need of platforms, but the Navy will have a need more of even the operational cost.
Operational cost, you are looking at what?
The operational cost of, yes, because if you send 3 naval ships to sea for 3 days, or say 1 week, you could be talking about over $100,000 of fuel.
Fuel?
Yes. So 1 week, 3 naval ships at sea. So you are talking about close to $100,000 of fuel.
And how entrepreneuring is the Navy getting? Because, for instance, we know that GOIL, Ghana Oil Company Limited, for instance, has a couple of tanks, fuel tanks, marine gas oil tanks at the naval base in Takoradi. Are there collaborations? Are the Navy looking outside its space and say, let's partner that oil company, let's partner that oil company, let us be able to get our own resources without necessarily depending on the central government for every bit and pieces of fuel money?
I don't know all the details, but what I can say is that successive CNSs have actually stretched their ingenuity, and they have done this, So some of these companies that you have mentioned, GOIL and other companies that the Navy provide public service to, but also certain times we'll have to allow them to use space for them to be able to deliver their mandate. The Navy Command have had to do a lot of collaboration with these agencies, and I'm sure that has been very helpful in getting the Navy also running alongside other support and other inflows that they have from other sources.
We now have established that the Navy is challenged when it comes to operational costs, is challenged when it comes to their platform as well. the people, what should they do? Because Navy is challenged. Should we live in fear? Recently, we heard the fisher folk in Takra, they complaining bitterly that they can't go to sea because they heard of piracy recently, and it's putting some sort of fear in the people. Is that what we should live by until we hear from the Navy that we are fine?
No, I'm sure that there's so much assurance from the Navy as well that that
in what sense?
Yes, that assurance in the sense that you always have some level of incidents happening, but over the years the Navy has proven to be capable, given within the constraints that they have. They've also proven to be capable, and I don't think that there's the fear should pull us down, but there is legitimate concerns, and those legitimate concerns will have to be addressed by the Navy and will have to be addressed by other maritime stakeholders in ensuring that we have a much more secure environment, just not for the fisher folks, but also for the larger maritime industry.
We've prided ourselves as a country a lot when it comes to security. Per your assessment, do you think we're still on top of security?
That assessment was true. It's based on the template and the profile in the region. We've had quite a number of hijackings across the country, the sub-region, and we didn't really have that many high-profile cases in Ghana, so we were always secured. With the recent incidents that happened, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Because
does that bring us back in any way?
Yes. So, yeah, from the maritime industry point of view, they can now calculate risk also in the case of Ghana. Because, you see, you and I can always sit down and argue and decide in one way or the other what something is. But the maritime industry is risk assessment driven. So, if vessels have been hijacked or boarded or harassed by pirates close to your waters or within your waters and even close to your port areas,
you are at risk.
The maritime industry becomes part of their risk calculation. It may not necessarily pick up the risk, but they will begin to look at things and calculate. It's like every business environment that you have to factor in risk. So we can no longer say that we are where we were a couple of years ago. No, that is completely a miscalculation. We cannot also decide to bury our face, and pretend that we haven't seen what has happened. What has happened is a wake-up call, and we will have to react to it. We'll have to put in place more robust measures so that looking into the future, even if that risk is being assessed, it will begin to be one that people will say, okay, it happened, we can treat these cases that were isolated cases because now we've run another year and we haven't seen that.
Besides piracy, Doctor, there are a couple of other marine-related crimes that we often hear, and stowaway is one of them. In the area of stowaway, how do we deal with this?
Well, I think we've done fairly well in the area of stowaways. It's another difficult subject to deal with, but what it means is that port security will have to be tightened. We have to tighten port security because this is where port authorities are those that matter when it comes to stowaways. Yeah, and also we need some level of sanctions also when it comes to vessels, because port authorities may be doing something good, but the vessels themselves will have to also make sure that their watchkeeping and other things are also apt.
If you have something to say to authority, will it be advice or will it be a warning? And if it's advice or a warning, who would you direct it to at this point in time?
Over and over again, we must continue to do our threat analysis. We must continue to test the systems that we have in place. Look, for every institution, there's a tendency at some point in time to always relax in terms of the systems that you have in place. You may even have them as being robust, but in terms of testing them and making sure they are working well, you may relax. When these things happen, they just don't amount to a breach of port security, but we are also having the International Port and Security Code. It tends to suggest that there can be some lapses within your port area. So for that matter, it's something that goes beyond even the interests of the port. It has implications for the larger interests of the country.
Yeah.
So making sure that those systems that are in place and enhancing them is very important.
So indeed, if we have to take care of the security of our waters, then the Navy needs to be resourced. Our waters needs to be protected. We need to watch all the possible criminal activities, STS and so on and so forth. That is what we are being advised to do. In the meantime, the Director General of the Port Authority has received the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade as part of their regular visit to the various institutions, stakeholder agencies that are responsible for the implementation of the paperless process or regime.
Are you clearing some
do what? We want to know what.
I'm clearing some, yeah.
The Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism has visited the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to ascertain how successful the paperless project has been at the Tema Port since its commencement on September 1st, 2018. The visit was also to update the committee members on issues surrounding the implementation of the project. The Director General of GPHA, PARLIAMENTARY, in welcoming the committee members, said the ports is experiencing a transition period with critical attention now on how to augment the export sector. He said the revised tariffs implemented by the Port Authority is the foremost step to encourage the export sector.
As at last year, we registered about 6.5 million tons of exports, whereas we handled 14.1 million tons of imports. And that is a very disturbing trend for any country's trade.
The DG of GPHA said, with an integrated cooperative strategy between all stakeholders and operators in the exports business, he is certain the export sector will yield fortunes for the nation.
Our aim is to develop an integrated strategy to be implemented by the stakeholder community for the first 5 years.
General Manager for Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Esther Jibidonko, said revenue has increased since the paperless was introduced for both GPHA and customs.
Every year, our traffic increases, but I'm looking at the exponential increase between 2016 and 2017 and saying that probably this also have contributed to it.
She indicated that achievements attained include substantial reduction in delays with regards to clients requesting for terminal charges, adding that the electronic process has ensured that customers only pay for services provided.
Our clients go on that platform, make a request to take delivery of their containers, and then our invoicing system automatically generates the invoice for them in their offices, wherever they are, without coming to the premises of GPHA.
The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee said he's impressed with the collaboration that's ensued between the stakeholders, adding that the future is bright to get perfect the system. He admonished the operators of the system to expedite implementation strategies and training programs in order to contribute their best to the smooth running of the system.
With this system in place, you know that we are taking the human, intervention as much as possible out of it. So we've been able to actually, for now we say it's okay, but there are a lot of things that we need to improve upon.
The MP for Tema East and the Deputy Minister for Transport, Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover, urged shippers to be sincere in their dealings to assist the operators in the port to execute the system well.
It is our duty to make sure that we support government in the payment of taxes to provide the service that we want him to do for us.
Members of the committee were accompanied to the terminals to practically examine the challenges on the ground. At the Meridian Port Services, some agents complained that sometimes customs take too long to inspect their goods, with the procedure sometimes degenerating into the next day.
Sometimes you can go even to release to book an appointment, and it will take you like about 4 hours. They will ask you to go to the office and come later on.
The customs officer in charge explained that such situations often occur as a result of internet service delays.
Here to do it, we want to know there are times that the system check out, that we send information and it doesn't go. So
members of the committee proceeded to the Tema Container Terminal, where the general manager of the terminal, Amos Fifi Otre, briefed the committee on how the paperless system works there.
If you know about the port, you would also know that the Golden Jubilee Terminal is very key. It's more or less one of the heartbeats of where diverting takes place in the port. That's where you see a lot of people, importers, coming in and out, trying to get their goods out of the port. Now, the Director General of the Port Authority has visited the folks at the Golden Jubilee Terminal and charged them to be on top of their game because it is the heartbeat of the port. That's where they're working.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Paul Lasariansa, has entreated workers of the Golden Jubilee Terminal to make the port more pleasurable and an attractive place for exporters and importers so as to increase productivity. The Port Authority boards also charge staff of the terminal to avoid the habit of requesting for money from agents and importers before rendering services to them. Paul Ansam made this known when he engaged staff of GJT at a mini Durbar to update them on measures the authority has put in place to create a business-friendly environment for importers and exporters.
When we work hard and we become each other's watcher to ensure that nobody cheats, nobody steals, at the end of the year, whether it is bonus or salary review, that is where what comes out of our stewardship will be shared equally and everybody will enjoy.
He assured the staff of job security, stressing that no Golden Jubilee operation has been transferred to Safeborn Terminal and Meridian Port Services, contrary to some fears by some staff.
Transit yard, promotion yedi ewure mu ko Niger Mali no Burkina no niema no eba more transit no eba more say yetrem near funny more.
He added that the Port Authority is putting in place measures to close the gap between import and export trade in Ghana, hence the need for staff to show good attitude of work so as to increase the profitability of the port. The Director of Tema Port, Edward Osei, urged workers to always communicate their concerns on time to the designated authorities for prompt resolution to those concerns.
So loads of advice from the Director General to the port community, particularly those who are the Golden Jubilee Terminal. On that note, on Port returns after the break.
Hello. Good morning. This is Samantha Wendy. I am sending a purchase order from SA2 Ventures International. Our policy for new supplies is 2 containers to start with, but you must deliver within 30 days.
Don't worry at all. I'm going to get you the 4 containers within 30 days or less. Bye.
To get his pineapple slices from his country to his clients overseas, Mr. Appiah and his representatives have to complete a number of regulatory compliance procedures to various international trade stakeholders.
Hey, Baba, what's going on? Get it right? I mean, how?
Using single window, Mr. Appiah has completed all his international trade procedures through one portal. He has registered his company information, applied for the necessary permit, certificates and licenses, and all that remains is for him to get a text alert for clearance and movement of goods. And that's how simple facilitating international trade could be in a single window environment. You can offer competitive services to your trading partners in China, America, even here in a simpler, faster and cost-effective way. Single window, the only way to Ghana's economic growth is in our hands.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with GOIL synthetic oil and any quality GOIL oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with GOIL synthetic oil.
We're a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose GOIL.
Ashene Pankasa. GOIL, good energy.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eye on Port, and coming up next are news and activities that are happening in and around the ports industry locally, and that includes GOIL engaging all the transporters who use GOIL fuel as well as GOIL lubricant. And as they always say, and some of us have attested to, if you don't use GOIL, you don't use fuel.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has intercepted 6 trucks carrying 6 40-footer containers containing assorted drinks, frozen fish, mackerel and lubricants. The cargo was meant to be going to the transit countries of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, but were observed to have diverted to Accra by the owners in order to sell them on the Ghanaian market. Customs then picked up the signal and intercepted the cargo and trucks as well. In all, the owners of the cargo were supposed to pay a duty of 570,000 Ghana cedis, which they avoided by declaring the cargo as meant for the transit countries, since transit cargoes do not attract any duty. Transit goods do not attract any duty because the goods are not to be consumed nor found in the Ghanaian market. The assorted drinks, according to the Tema Sector Commander of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Dr. Godfred Okoapia, were being offloaded into a warehouse in Tabora in Accra before customs nabbed the perpetrators. This is the 3rd time goods meant for the transit countries have been seized by customs since the beginning of the 2nd quarter of the year 2018. Dr. Godfred Okoapia said his outfit has stepped up vigilance and surveillance to avert instances where transit goods are diverted onto the Ghanaian markets.
From 19th of April last month, this is the third arrest that we have of such transactions meant for transit which are diverted that we have intercepted.
The drivers and owners of the goods have been arrested and put behind bars.
So far we arrested the 3 drivers and then the owner of the goods and the agent bolted. We are still looking for him, though he left his vehicle behind. We stole the vehicle, we have seized the vehicle now.
He entreated importers to be very wary of unscrupulous clearing agents who deceive them that they can clear their goods at a reduced duty rates.
If you are an importer and you have any doubt or you are looking for a credible agent, approach their executive. Don't let anybody come there to deceive you.
GOIL, the leading oil marketing company in Ghana and the only oil marketing company in Ghana supplying marine gas oil for vessels, has launched its bulk transporters driving manual to guide drivers of petroleum products on the safety mechanisms for movements from depots to delivery points. Group Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of GOIL, Patrick Akoli, explained at the launch that GOIL's research has established that the professional petroleum driver performed potentially hazardous and important function in the distribution chain of petroleum products. Thus, it was critical that the professional drivers are equipped with expertise and operational reference manual to ensure that safety is never compromised with respect to life, property and environment in the performance of their duties. He said the manual serves as a comprehensive format to instill safety and health consciousness as well as environmentally responsible operation in the transportation of petroleum products. He explained that in the interface between transporters and OMC operations, consistency, loyalty and adherence to ethical standards were key factors GOIL considered to maintain operation.
Let us all do the right things. Health and safety issues, they are very important. Let us not see GOIL vehicles on the road. They say, we tell them, you see, they cannot do the job. So one person's negligence, a driver's negligence, a mate's negligence, somebody doing something wrong somewhere can pull the whole brand down.
Benjamin Tokonu, GOIL Head of Operations, who launched the manual, explained that the booklet covered the certification process, information on various petroleum products, their characteristics and hazards. He said GOIL continues to be guided by a strategic plan that allows it to enhance the systematic research and use of the best practices at all levels, hence the development of bulk transport drivers manual.
There are a lot of standards which they may not be aware of. Some of them are not technically sound. But GOIL, who is entrusting that product to the transporter, must ensure that the product knowledge is well understood by the transporter. He knows what he's carrying, timely delivery, safe delivery, and then that is what we call the good energy.
Benjamin Tokonu said GOIL, as pace setters in the downstream petroleum industry, would continue to set up mechanisms to ensure reliable risk management and continual review, analysis and improvement of business processes and conduct business in an honest, transparent and trustworthy manner.
International Port News next.
According to marine insurance provider GAD, tanker operators were urged to carry out an assessment of risk involved before engaging in voyages to Libyan waters. Oil smuggling activities in waters off the western Libya coast continue to pose risk to vessels in these waters. Over the last few years, nearly 300 crew members have been arrested and are being held in a Tripoli prison awaiting trial for alleged oil smuggling. Workers across Italian ports launched a 24-hour strike on May 11th, voicing their dissatisfaction over the lack of lashing legislation enforcement and poor safety in Italian ports. The strike is led by unions, Field-Sigil, FIT-Sizil, and Ultrasporti Nazionale, affiliates of the International Transport Workers Federation and Dockers Division of the European Transport Workers Federation. According to International Organization of Masters, Mates and Pilots, MMNP, Panamanian government agency is to launch an inquiry into the Panama Canal Authority's treatment of tugboat captains. The Autoridad Nacional de Transparencia Internacional, in charge with investigating ethics violation and corruption, will look into the tugboat captains protesting forced overtime, unilateral manning cuts, and other safety concerns. The captains are members of the MMNP, Panama Canal affiliates Unión de Capitán y Oficial de Cubierta, which represents about 200 tug captains and associated vessel personnel.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing, or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with GOIL synthetic oil and any quality GOIL oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with GOIL synthetic oil.
We're a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose GOIL.
Ashene Pankasa. GOIL, good energy.
Schedules of vessels in the port, those at anchorage, those expected in the coming week, including the fishing vessels that are coming to the fishing harbor, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, all are next. Next up are your comments.
Hello, Iron Port. My name is Maxwell from Austria. Can you please assist me with the duty for the following chassis numbers of vehicles I want to ship to Ghana? Well, Maxwell, the estimated duty for the first vehicle is 38,900 cedis, whilst that of the second vehicle is 30,800 cedis. JB from Korea says, please, I want you to check the amount of duty I will pay for my vehicle. This is my chassis number. JB, the estimated duty is 22,100 cedis. Michael says, please, I have a car that I want to export from Holland to Ghana. Can you please help me check the import duty I have to pay? The chassis number is as follows. Michael, the estimated duty is 26,400 cedis. Jonathan says, please, I have GMC Terrain manufactured in the year 2011 with 6 cylinders. The chassis number is as follows. Jonathan, the estimated duty is 24,300 cedis. Iron Port, My name is Israel and I want to commend you for the great work you are doing. However, I have this request. Please do check the amount of duty I have to pay for a car I want to bring to Ghana. This is the chassis number. Israel, the estimated duty is 34,500 cedis.
That's it for this week's episode of Eye on Port. Thank you for watching, and also thanks to the entire crew for backing the program. Martin Minta, Lawrence Gaze, Belinda Dekep, Frank Gomelusio, Alfred Chiagbe, Joe Lavo, Joe Bone, Solomon Anderson, Robert Nyantichi, Godwin Kabute. Executive producers of this program, Madam Abna Sewa Opokufosu and Madam Esther Jebidonko. Thanks for watching.